Hello, my name is Jason Titcomb. I work for a SolidEdge reseller, LMGI. I'll be doing a series of videos of SolidEdge. It's the SolidEdge Fundamentals courseware, and it's going to be a multi-part series. I'm going to start off really slow. First, when you install the software, you may be presented with the licensing utility when you first try to start it. If you have a license file, you can simply select it. You may have an activation code. You may have an academic code. In most cases, a user that's licensed will have a server name, and they would type that in, or they would have an actual license file, and you would browse and select that after editing the file to contain the name of the server. If you wanted to just use SolidEdge as a 2D drafting tool, you can do that for free, no charge, and also a 3D viewer that does measurement and can read PMI, product manufacturing information that was previously created in the file. So it's an excellent viewer for free and 2D creation tool. I'm going to cancel out of that. So I've launched SolidEdge. So let's take a look at the user interface to get you started. The first area you want to look at is the application button. It's kind of your starting point for the entire application. It's they're adopting the Microsoft Office interface, staying current with that. So this should look almost exactly like your Office applications. Notice when I click the application button, it does change things a little bit. So in this state, you'll have you should have a Learn tab. If you don't, I'll close it and you'll have a little blue button that will turn that pane on. You'll see some interesting things like About SolidEdge. This will tell you what product features you have and what maintenance release you are on and things like that. If you choose a learning path from this pane, it will take you to a web page where you can get this material for this course. If you scroll way down to the bottom, you'll see instructor-led courses, and there's fundamentals, and this is the course. This is all the material for this course. You can download those. Don't believe you need any kind of a login to do that. If you have SolidEdge, you can get to that location. So let's click the application button again. Another very important area is the Learn tab when you're in this state. So getting started, there's tutorials, there's what's new. Now we're using SolidEdge 2019, which is the latest version at this time. It's the version right after SolidEdge ST10. There's also some interesting catalogs if you need to get some parts, stepper motors, ball screws, 80/20 extrusions, anything like that. You'll find these available in native SolidEdge formats for free. Global settings in the software you'll find in the Settings tab and the Options. A lot of general settings will be found here. Helpers is a really common one that you might go to. I've turned the video clips off for my tooltips, so when I hover over a button, I don't get that extra video because I'm making a video. I don't think it's really necessary. This radial menu, you'll be seeing that pretty soon, and maybe I'll come back and show you this setting. So this kind of relates to the user experience a little bit in the helpers. So mostly just, this is a how to find it. So I categorize things into need to know, nice to know, and then simply how do I find that in the future, these other things. So to create a new document, if you click the New tab, you'll see a list of your templates. SolidEdge uses a separate file type with a different file extension for each type. A model has a .par extension, a sheet metal may have PSM, assembly.asm, draft.dft. Weldment is it will be an ASM, but it's set to a mode in the assembly file that allows it to be used as a weldment environment. If you click the New, at the top. So you can use these buttons if you like, and these will start a new file. Or if you want, you can always use this dialog where you can choose your standard and choose your templates. It's kind of all the same thing here. These are nothing more than SolidEdge files that will start a new document. And if you want to change this list, you just choose Edit List, and this will change your running default, kind of your standard from day to day, and you can persist that if you want to. So I'm going to just cancel out, and let's just create a new metric part file. Kind of the first thing we need to talk about is what's unique about SolidEdge as it applies to modeling. You can work in these two different modeling modes. One is called synchronous technology, and the other is called ordered. If you right click, you'll see transition to ordered, and notice the toolbar changes a little bit. So ordered mode is kind of the mode that a lot of other CAD packages use. It's very history based, it's very sequential, it has its pros and has its cons, but it is a different modeling technique. This is the technique that SolidEdge has had since day one, 1995 or 6 era, and it's very robust modeling technique. If you right click though, you'll see this synchronous bar show up, and the toolbar changes a little bit. Now in this course I'm going to probably try to show you both, rather than do one course for synchronous modeling techniques and another for ordered modeling technique. I think ultimately where you want to be is you want to understand both, because that's where there's benefits to both. Synchronous can be just many times more efficient and productive with certain model types, and especially editing existing files of a foreign type. So I'm going to try to just cover both, and I think that will work. So we're going to still just simply talk about a user interface here. You see obviously the software is arranged into major tab groups. So think about how you find things. You have home, and then look to the group name. So if you want to draw anything, look for the draw group, and then start looking around at the buttons and hover and use your tooltips to find the command that you want. Notice if there's drop buttons on some, and some don't have drop buttons. There's also a command finder down here, which can be really helpful. If I search for something like shell, Pro-E invented the shell command, I believe. So thin wall is what SolidEdge, and that should find that command for you. Maybe a little bit better example. Let's transition to ordered. So if I run that command again, if I hover it, just because of the state of the software, it wasn't able to show me. So you see it finds the command for you, and you can click the help icon here to take you right to the help, or you can actually execute the command right there. The performance on it is not great while I'm recording. That's why it's a little laggy, but it's a great way to find a command in the software on any tab, actually. So if you double click a main tab, it will minimize that, and if you click it a single left click, it will expose it. So you may like that very trim interface. It gives you the maximum drawing space, so I'll just double click. I may do that from time to time. There's three really, as far as workflow, if I could only tell you three things, and it would be, number one, use your tooltips to find the command, and then once you execute the command, everything you need for that command is on this command bar. The command bar may be here, or it may be on the left. I'll show you that in a moment. And then the third thing is the status bar, or the prompt bar rather, tells you what the software expects you to do, and you can increase the size of it You can make it a little bigger down here if you want. If you close it completely, the prompt will still show up on the status bar, but normally it's in this prompt bar. So those three things: tooltip, command bar has everything you need to create, and it usually moves, progresses from left to right, and if you hover every little button, you usually find the setting there that gives you the results that you want. There's also the idea of themes in the software. If I right-click here on the main ribbon and choose themes and switch to some assistance, this may be a little bit more like SolidWorks, but all the same elements still exist. So let's do the same thing again. We'll choose extrude, and then the command bar is just simply over here on the left. Now it's kind of nice. They've got the room to put text on the buttons, but it does take up this whole left side as far as space. And you could certainly collapse this pane with the by clicking this push pin, which would allow it to retract. It does get a little clunky, I think. See, the prompt bar needs to be pinned out now too. So you can experiment with that on your own, but the same elements are there. So tooltip, command bar, and then prompt gives you instructions on what the software expects you to do. So I think that's a pretty good start for now. I'll cover some more elements of the user interface in the very next video.